Welcome to the lesson on recording voiceover and ADR in Davinci Resolve. So the first step is to navigate to the module and to the lesson, Davinci Fairlight Lesson 2, Recording Voiceover and ADR. Then you want to read through the objectives here. These are basically all the goals of the things that you're going to accomplish in this lesson. Read through the bridge and it's going to describe what we're going to do. And then there's an intro video that you can watch, and it's going to demonstrate a lot of the techniques. Next step is you're going to download the lesson file. So you're going to actually open this and download this file. Once you've downloaded the file, you're going to navigate to your Finder, to the Downloads folder, and find it. Once you get to the Downloads folder and find that download, it's R18 Fairlight Part 3 is the download. And you're going to save that on data or in your hard drive, okay, where you keep all your RTVF lessons. So I've saved it in my G drive, Davinci Lessons, Lesson 2, Fairlight Part 3. Okay. So next thing you're going to do is you're going to follow along on the video tutorial series, or you can follow along with the book. So I've got the book pulled up here. You have access to that in the Davinci intro module. You could download it, save it on your computer, or just access it right off the module. Open it in a new tab right here like I did. And here's the intro for that section for lesson 2. Okay, so recording voiceover and ADR. So audio post-production often requires recording new audio files to fill out the soundtrack. These tracks can range from scratch voiceover, VO, to automatic dialogue replacement, ADR, to Foley sound effects or multi-track music recordings. The number and type of tracks that you record depend entirely on your audio interface and type of project. You can easily record your own tracks in Davinci Resolve 18 in the Fairlight page timeline. All you need to do is set up a microphone, patch the microphone into input to a track, arm the track, and start recording. Okay, so in this lesson, you'll set up and perform 3 types of audio recordings. First, you'll manually record a simple voiceover track for the voice of an intelligent computer. Then you'll use the new ADR tools to set up and record automatic dialogue replacement in the same scene. Finally, you'll patch and record Resolve's built-in tone generator for sound effects. There's a note here that this exercise builds on the last lesson, and you'll have completed that already. So if you need to review that, go back and review it. Okay, so first of all, setting up your microphone. So before you can start recording, you need to set up your microphone. So you'll need a dynamic microphone for this particular example because you'll probably be doing it in the lab. If you're doing it at home, you can use any kind of microphone, dynamic, condenser, a USB microphone, or you could even use your computer's built-in microphone. Okay, so in this case, we are going to use the interfaces with a dynamic microphone. Okay, so what you're going to do is navigate to your Apple system settings and go to sound. And you're going to choose output and input. You're going to choose the interface. So in the lab, you're going to see the Audient interface. My personal interface at home is a Universal Audio Thunderbolt interface. If you have a different interface at home, you'll choose that. Okay, so that's for step 1. You want to get that selected for your input and your outputs within the Mac operating system. Okay, so next thing is we're going to prepare the project. So we're going to open Davinci Resolve, and I'm going to actually go right here in Spotlight, search for Davinci Resolve, open the app. And it takes a minute to open up, but you'll see it opening here. And as that loads up, we're going to go into the Project Manager, right-click, and choose Restore Project Archive. And we're going to navigate to the file that we downloaded, and we're going to open that. So, as soon as Davinci launches, we'll do that. Okay, so you should see the Resolve library open up. And here you have already built a library, or if you're working in the lab, you're going to be creating this library on data. So in the last project, you learned how to do this, how to build the library. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in here, and even if you don't have anything in here, these are like all my projects. So there's a lot of stuff in here, right? Okay, so before we can restore the project archive, we have to unzip this package. So we're going to control click that, open with, archive utility, and your computer is going to unzip that package. All of the package contents are in a zip folder, and so you'll unzip that before you can access the project archive. You can see it's a pretty big file, pretty big project, so it takes a second. Okay, so here is the actual cache, media files, and project. So here's all the media files. They're all within this one folder that we just unzipped. Okay, and let's make sure that that is here. Yep. So it's a strange thing. It wants to unzip it in the downloads. So I'm going to copy this and paste it. Command C, Command V for copy, paste. And paste that folder right into my G drive file structure. So sometimes, even if you're unzipping it from here, it's unzipping it from the downloads folder, which I'm not really clear on why it does that. But if that happens, just find it back in the downloads, copy it, and move it into your correct file structure. The main thing being that you could download it and then unzip it right away. Or you could do it this way. And the whole point is that it ends up in your hard drive or in data or in the correct place. You don't want to work from your downloads folder. Okay, so there it is. So now we can come back, control click in our library here, restore project archive, find lesson 2, go into the folder, and open. And it's going to import this project. And that will also take a minute because it's a pretty big project. There it is. Hyperlight Audio Post. Okay, so now you're going to double click that and it's going to open the project. Okay, here is the project. As you can see, we're in the delivery page right here. And here's all of our clips in the timeline. bunch of clips there. Everything's super zoomed in. Here's a bunch of clips here. And let's Command Tab back to our description and see what we got here. Okay, so the project opens in the Fairlight page with the 2 recording VO start time visible. Now that did not happen, did it? So we need to go to the Fairlight page. Okay, here's dialogue, ADA test voice, ADA final VO, drone, and drone 2. Let's see what we got here. 2 recording VO start timeline visible. Okay. So we're going to, the project opens in the Fairlight page with 2 recording VO start time visible. So if it doesn't do that, if it starts here, just click right on over here to the Fairlight page. So this is a good time to reset the UI layout and save a working copy of the project so that you can keep unaltered original project for later reference. So choose Workspace, Reset UI Layout. Workspace, Reset UI Layout. Okay, so that was in here. And again, Workspace. Reset UI Layout. Okay. Choose Save Project As. Right here, File, Save Project As. In the name field, type your initials after the project name. Click Save. There it is, and updated the name here. Copy, Elke. Should have your name there, of course. In the Timeline View Options menu, select the video tracks icon from the track display options, if necessary, to show the video tracks in the timeline. So in the Timeline View Options menu, let's move this over a little. There we go. Timeline View Options menu. Right here. Select the video tracks icon from the track display options. Like that, video tracks right here. So here is the track display. Here's the video tracks. Click this. That shows the video tracks in the timeline. So right here, and actually you can see it here, the video, and here are the video tracks here. Source. Okay. As you can see in the video track, this timeline comprises numerous video clips since they were originally edited together for this scene. So here's all these numerous video clips right here. Okay. Show the media pool in the media pool bin list. Select Lesson Timelines, Lesson 2. So you want to go to the media pool, Lesson Timelines, and Lesson 2. So media pool, Lesson Timelines, Lesson 2. If necessary, change the media pool to list view. Okay, so right now we're in the icons view. We want to go to list, and there's the list. Here you will see all the timelines for this lesson. Each lesson includes sequential timelines, starting with the lesson number. In this case, the first timeline is 2 recording VO starts. Right here. Which should already be open. Right here, you could see it. And this is the one that's open right now. Here's all your timelines. Right now, we're on the correct one. You'll work with this timeline shortly. For now, let's open a different timeline that will serve as a reference for the finished scene. So let's open the timeline 2C ref finished scene. So we can go 2C ref finished scene. So we'll go here. There we go. So if you double click here, it will open that scene. Okay, and it changed here. You see that? For subsequent exercises, you'll simply be instructed to open a specific timeline. You can also access any of the lesson timelines for this book in the Timeline Smart Bin at the bottom of the Media Pool Bins list. That's down over here. Okay. More on that later. So now that you've restored and saved the project and opened the reference timeline, let's take a few minutes to learn more about the voiceover part that you will record. Previewing the scene for context. You're about to embark on a real-world audio post-production journey through several scenes from the short film Hyperlight, directed by Nyajin Negyon. Along the way, you'll use professional tools and features in the Fairlight page to perform various audio post jobs as you turn raw production sound into a fully mixed stereo and 5.1 surround soundtrack. Hyperlight is a futuristic science fiction short film that takes place in space. Two main characters, Emiliana and Philip, accidentally cross a space-time threshold during hyperspace travel and end up encountering themselves. Only one version of each person can survive. The voiceover you will record is that of the ship's computer, ADR. Chances are you've seen a film or television show, such as 2001: A Space Odyssey or Star Trek, that feature a talking computer through the ship. In this exercise, you'll experience your own time travel as you play through several versions of the scene to hear the original production sound, a voiceover test, and the voice used in the final mix. Let's start by streamlining the interface. So hide the media pool and mixer if necessary. So we can hide the media pool and hide the mixer. See that? Click that and the mixer closes. Click that and the media pool closes. Move and resize the viewer to the empty space to the right of the timeline. Hide the monitoring panel meters. So we can grab this and slide it out of there. That will put it back. Here is where you can click and have a floating window. So we can put that right over there. See that? Put it back here. Click it, and it comes out to floating. Now we can close the meters and put this here. Move and resize the viewer to the empty space to the right, just like we just did. This timeline includes an early version of the soundtrack from editorial along with the final mix. Track A1 contains the kind of sparse soundtrack that is provided by the editing department when a simple dialogue scene is picture locked. You'll work with these tracks shortly. Solo track A1 and play the scene from the beginning. During playback, pay close attention to the sound of the computer's voice. So here's track A1. We're going to click this S and solo it. We're going to come back to the top. And I'm actually going to pull down the volume just in case so it's not loud for the video I'm making. You won't do this on your setup. Oh, hold on. Let's solo two things. I want to solo A1.
Ada, identify the person in front of me.
Emiliana Newton.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Ada, identify the person I'm speaking with.
Philip Meader.
Identify the person on the med lab.
Philip Meader.
Ada, how's that possible?
I can't explain this discrepancy.
You died.
Okay, click the space bar. So now that I've done that, go ahead and pause this video and you make sure you solo and watch this through with that track soloed. Okay, so that's soloing track A1. Unsolo A1 and solo the A2 track. The A2 track contains a professional stereo mix for this section and scene.
Ada, identify the person in front of me.
Emiliana Newton.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Ada, identify the person I'm speaking with.
Philip Meader.
Identify the person on the meds lab.
Philip Meader.
Ada, how's that possible?
I cannot explain this discrepancy.
You died.
Okay, space bar to stop. Now you make sure you take a minute, pause this video, and solo this track and play it back and listen to it in your headphones. Okay, so play the scene and listen to the fully developed soundtrack, including the computer's voice, so you could hear the computer's voice was better. The computer dialogue is between the blue timeline markers, so feel free to just play from the marker to marker. So here is where the computer voice starts. You can click that marker and hit the space bar
Ada.
and play. So that's one way to play from a marker. Wow, what a difference a professional sound designer, composer, and re-recording mixer can make to the soundtrack. You probably noticed that the computer's voice sounds a lot like a smartphone's interactive voice assistant in the first example, and more emotive and human in the final mix. Now let's go back to an earlier version of this timeline and listen to the original production dialogue recording with the scratch computer voiceover. Open the to recording VO start timeline and hide the media pool. Open the to recording VO start timeline. Okay, so you open the media pool, double click the to recording VO start, and then hide the media pool. We could slide this over here where we're not in the way. Resize and move the viewer to the lower center of the timeline below the timeline clips. Okay, so let's do that. So we can actually resize it by dragging it in. Oops. Doesn't want to resize. That's okay. I'll just put it right down here. Press Shift Z to horizontally fit the timeline clips in the timeline. Shift Z. So anytime you're zoomed in with your Command plus or minus, remember Command plus and minus are zoom in the timeline, and Shift Z fills the timeline with the tracks. The timeline includes 5 audio tracks. All the dialogue is in the A1 track here. Okay, let me move this over a little. In this track here, A1. The computer voice clips are colored in lime green here, these lime green ones. Tracks A2 and 3 contain alternate versions of the computer voiceover and are currently muted. A2, A3, and you can see they're muted. Tracks A4 and A5 contain drone sound effects that are used to temporarily fill the gaps between dialogue lines instead of using ambient sound and temp music. A4 and 5. Here they are. Okay, so move the playhead to the blue marker at 1001515. To the blue marker at 1001515 right here. Play the first half of the scene from the blue marker and listen to the production from the blue marker and listen to the production dialogue with the original Scratch computer voice.
Ada, identify the person in front of me.
Emiliana Newton is seated across from me.
Are you sure?
Positive.
Ada, identify the person I'm speaking with.
Philip Maeda.
Identify the person on the med lab.
Philip Maeda.
Ada, how's that possible?
I can't explain this discrepancy.
Clearly, the voice recorded during production was meant as a placeholder to cue the talent. Now that you've heard the original Scratch version of the computer's voice, let's select and disable those clips. Selecting and disabling clips. So in the previous lesson, you used the mute and solo buttons to control which tracks were audible during playback. Sometimes you might need to mute specific clips within a track. In that case, instead of using the mute button in the track header here, you can disable the clip. In Resolve, you can disable both video and audio clips with a single keystroke. To do so, select one or more clips and press D for disable. This keyboard shortcut works as a toggle to disable or enable the selected clips. Let's try it out on the Scratch computer voiceover clips in the A1 track. Move the playhead to the third lime green clip in the A1 track. Press the Command =, and Mac OS to zoom in horizontally to the timeline clips. So we're going to move the playhead to the third lime green clip, which is this one. And then we're going to do Command = to zoom in horizontally on the timeline clip. Oh, I said plus earlier. Plus =, same key. Okay, now we're zoomed in. The timeline zooms horizontally with the playhead in the center of the timeline. The first 5 lime green clips should now be easier to see and select. I zoomed too far, so Command minus. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now there's 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So that's Command minus or Command plus to zoom out and zoom in. Command equal or plus for zoom in. Select the first lime green color clip in the A1 track and press D. Click it. D. And there it is. It's disabled. The clip turns gray to indicate that it's disabled. Let's disable the rest of the tracks at once. Select the second lime green clip and then Command click the next 3 lime green clips and then press D. So you can select multiple regions by holding Command. So I'm just holding Command and clicking. So if I was to select that one, it would select it. You can click again and deselect. The whole time I'm holding Command. That's different than if you were to use Shift. So if you hold Shift, it's going to select all the clips in the range. Okay? Command, click the clips you want, and press D, and they are disabled. Okay, the clips turn gray to indicate they're disabled. With these Scratch Production Computer dialog clips disabled, you can selectively listen to some of the other computer voice options and even record your own.